what do you make of that Parliament has taken back control line? Has it, or could Theresa May's deal live to fight on?
Well, everything's possible. Parliament hasn't taken control. What it's done is it is basically decided that they're going to give MPs some options which they will vote on tomorrow in order for the Prime Minister to have some sort of indication as to what Parliament would pass. But of course, the problem for somebody like me who voted Brexit, campaigned for Brexit, is it consistent with what the people voted for, which is that we want to be having all our laws decided in the United Kingdom? Would we be able to do free trade deals? Would we be able to control our own borders? And would we stop paying billions into the European Union? If we come forward with a solution that keeps faith with what the people voted for in 2016, all well and good. But if they go down the road of, let's say, a customs union, that actually stops us from doing some of those things, and that means that we are betraying what the people voted for.
Well, it's what was in the Conservative manifesto, the red lines that you describe, but it might not necessarily be what everybody who voted for Brexit voted for. They might not have had in mind those 4 red lines when they put the cross on the paper as part of that 52%.
Yeah, but what they were voting for was to leave the European Union. It wasn't 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
Well, that's open to interpretation, isn't it?
No, it's not. No, I think, part of the problem is that this word Brexit has been invented, although that wasn't on the ballot paper. So you can't have a soft independence or a hard independence. You're either independent from the European Union or you're not. And I think part of the problem is that over my shoulder you have a Parliament that has 3/4 of its MPs who voted for Remain. You have a Remain Prime Minister, you have a Cabinet that voted 3/4 Remain, you've got a Remain Speaker as well, who has clearly been centre stage a lot during these processes, and you have a Leave country. And so, we're in an awkward position, and I've never been here before. Normally, politicians let the people down. But across my shoulder, you've got politicians who believe that the people have let us down because they didn't vote in the way that they were told to vote. Everybody thought that they would vote to stay in the European Union. After all, Project Fear was there to ensure that the public were going to be frightened to say, oh no, we better stay in, we better stay in. Well, they didn't. They said, no, we actually want independence for the UK. And there's a huge dilemma here. And I think actually democracy is now on a drip feed in the United Kingdom, because if we go against what the people voted for, and you mentioned some of the options was have a second referendum. Well, that's code for let's overturn the verdict of the first referendum. Revocation of Article 50?
It could be a confirmatory. OK, let's take some of these options. It could be a confirmatory vote, couldn't it? What's wrong with taking back to the people, OK, we're going to do Brexit. Is this the type of Brexit that you voted for? Because you've made assumptions, the Conservative Party's made assumptions about those 4 red lines, but those weren't on the ballot paper initially. So let's put them on the ballot paper this time and say, is this the kind of Brexit that you wanted?
But what we know was that there was a very hard-fought campaign, and that we said that we were not going to pay billions into the European Union, so we must accept that. We said we were going to control our own borders on immigration, so we must accept that. We said that we wouldn't be justiciable by the European Court of Justice, so we must accept that. So all of these things, and then do free trade deals throughout the world. So if we accept all of that, and that was part of the campaign, and the people voted for that, then that's what we must deliver.
But not everything has gone exactly as was predicted by the Leave campaign.
No, and I'll tell you why. Because we had that useless general election in 2017, although both the Labour Party and the Conservatives fought on a manifesto that said we would deliver what the people voted for. And then ever since we've got a minority government, we rely on the support of the DUP, that's the Conservative Party, and then Theresa May cobbles together some deal which basically forgets about the DUP, so we lose their support. She then loses the support of the Brexit-supporting MPs in her party. And you've got an indication just over a week ago when the Prime Minister put forward a motion to Parliament that said, shall we extend Article 50 beyond March the 29th? 188 Conservatives voted no, and 112, including herself, voted yes. That, to me, says the Prime Minister has lost the authority of her own party. And people are asking me, how long is she going to be in number 10? Well, let's put it this way. Not only do I not think will she be switching on the Christmas lights at number 10 this year, but I very much doubt whether she'll be giving away any of the Easter eggs as well. It's that close to her leaving, I think. Is
it still possible for her to name a date and for that to be sufficient to bring round the ERG, maybe even the DUP, give somebody else the chance to negotiate the next part of Brexit, and that will be enough to secure support, and therefore her deal lives on?
I think that the best chance for her getting her deal through is for her to announce the timetable of her departure, so that everybody knows that she's going to go if her deal goes through. And then if her deal does go through, she has to leave number 10. We will have an orderly selection between the Conservative MPs as to who the two candidates are that we give to the membership. That the membership will then decide who the new leader will be.
Can any of that be done by April the 12th?
No, I don't think that is that
So do we have to ask for an extension?
Yeah, well, we'll see where it goes, because we can do it fairly quickly, but there cannot be a coronation as there was last time. The membership are demanding that they must choose who the next leader of the Conservative Party is. And as a Secretary to the 22, we have regular discussions about these matters. We'll get it over and done with as quickly as we possibly can.
Might we end up with a general election here if the members of Parliament vote for something in these indicative votes that looks very different from your four red lines that we started this conversation talking about? That would mean that the Conservative Party would have to call an election, wouldn't they, to get some confirmation from the people?
Well, I think we are looking towards an early general election, but it's not going to be before Theresa May resigns and a new leader comes in. She said she wouldn't fight the next general election in 2022. She's not going to get anywhere near there. Everybody knows that her authority is completely broken. I mean, she had three more ministers resign last night. She's not the strong and stable Theresa May that we all remember during that 2007.
Our international viewers might be confused, but you are actually in the same political party as her.
Right.
I mean, this is the extent to which she's lost support. Then.
Absolutely.
I mean, you've been in this party 27 years.
Yes.
Does it hold together?
I've been in the party.
You've been an MP for 27 years. Does
50 years.
Does the Tory party hold together through all of this?
Not with Theresa May, no. We now need to get this sorted out as quickly as we possibly can. You mentioned April the 12th. That is an important deadline for us. If we get a deal through, then she can stay until all the various bits of legislation are necessary to get us out of the European Union by May the 22nd, which is the other date. But then she has to go. We can then have an orderly transition to a new leader who will have the authority of the membership, and they can then bring the party back together again. But we need to get this sorted.